Some would say that the joy in exploration lies not in the destination, but in the journey itself. Some places, it seems, even though they are the destination, happen to be a journey of a different kind. Coco Pommel, the Manhattanite mayor, has lived in the inner city for a very long time. She has her own apartment near Central Park, and as a result, she has acquired a lot of things which have colored her apartment, and given it a sense of story that a mere hotel would not have. On a trip to Manhattan, you have chosen to stay with Coco herself. She has welcomed you with open arms, and upon arriving at the apartment house, you get a sense of history. It is older than most buildings, though not badly camped up. There is a sense of pride in the way it has been taken care of. Though there are hundreds of rooms, it appears that each one has its own accent on the balconies. You can see small accents of life, plants, banners of the Royal Guard, and signs of comfort made by each and every one of the tenants. Coco Pommel's is easily seen from the bottom, only a few floors up. You can spy small details that show she has kept some gifts from her fashion friend Rarity. You know exactly where to go, and yet there's a sense of tension, perhaps? A feeling that the journey up the stairs and to the door is in itself an excitement. Coco is waiting for you, and as you press the button to the elevator and feel it ascend, the old gears grind and heave and pull upwards. They have a tough time gliding you straight up, but they are reliable and strong. When the door opens, they clatter a little, taking their time with the reveal of the floor above. You can see the hallway, dark and poorly lit, but yet there's a coziness here. This apartment house has a feeling that it is cared for on the inside just as well as the out. And down at the far end of the corridor, you see a small symbol on the door itself. It's a spool, etched in beautiful color, on a plaque outside one of the apartment rooms. Closer inspection reveals, yes, this is a sign of the Mayor Coco Pommel. You prepare to knock and wait, wondering, what will you say? What will you do? You've heard much about her, and she is a rather big sweetheart. there's a tiny bit of worry that you don't want to make a bad impression, but you've already talked to her over a phone line. She seemed eager to meet you. And here, this would not be the first time that a stranger has rented her room for the weekend for a chance to view Manhattan, and of course, helping Coco out with a few bits of extra money. Before you can knock, the door parts open, and the face of a sweet mare peers from within. Her eyes are bright, her hair streaked. A small purple collar accents her neck, and in her mane is a flower of sorts. She smiles, and it's obvious you are nervous, but excited. Here she stands, gesturing for you to come in and welcoming you eagerly. The room is bigger than you expected. There are designs and paintings on the walls, small knickknacks here and there, but nothing gaudy, nothing out of place. For in Coco's world, everything has a place, and everything is well taken care of. The lights are low, and yet you can see everything you need to see. There is an open balcony with glass windows etched in crisscrossing lines, and down below a view of the park. There is a chair there, right on the balcony, and you wonder how often Coco sits and thinks to herself as she watches the other citizens of Manhattan stroll by. You can see that this chair is well loved, and off to the right, a new chair, put obviously in preparation for your visit. Coco guides you to the bedroom to show you where you will be sleeping. The bed is one of the biggest beds you've ever seen. This has to fit at least 4 or 5 mares and stallions. And yet, Coco is so tiny compared to it. How could one mare need so much space? The bed itself takes up most of the room. There is a tiny dresser off to the side, a lamp lit and casting a veil of light, golden, over the side of the bed, and a stack of books all about drama, fashion, and friendship rests on the nightstand. You notice there are no clocks. There's no alarms. And when you mention this, Coco replies that she does not like being timed. For her, she experiences everything as it should be. You think about this and realize that you're now in a different world, and how you get to explore it is all up to you. She guides you to the bath, and you can see the tub, a giant bowl with a shower curtain suspended on a ring above. There are a lot of mirrors in here, and they are so small. There are fashion implements, makeup, hair styler, various tools on the bathroom shelves. After the tour, it's back to the living room, where Coco goes to brew some tea. When she comes back, it's hard not to see how she attends to every need of her visitors. She smiles to make them feel happy. She makes sure that their drinks are made exactly as they want. She gives them the best seats, and you are sitting on the most comfortable couch you have ever felt in your entire life. Soft and inviting, it feels as though you're pulled inwards. And here you and Coco sat, speaking about various things that happened during the day, her telling you the basics of the Manhattan area, and you listening, enjoying the information, but more than anything else, loving the fact that you're here spending time with her. She sees this, and there is a sense of recognition on her face that no matter what she says, you are enthralled by her. She smiles, and there is a bit of blush. She walks over to the balcony and gestures for you to come forth. As you both sit there, the sound of walking on the streets below creates a rhythm to your conversation. It seems that she wants to get to know you more, figure you out, as it were. Coco is having trouble forming some of the sentences. She stops halfway, backs up, tries again. When she finally asks for more and more personal information about who you've ever talked to or liked, why you go to the city when you could spend time with friends and family, it's easy to say that anything that you two can do together would be more comforting than just walking around alone out there. She blushes a bit before, of course, you specify what you mean and make it apparent that it's about hanging out together. She laughs a little, obviously mistaking the tone for something more romantic. You can see that. And you wonder, has Coco ever asked anyone out? You don't say it, you don't ask her the question yourself, but you think it. And in the expressions in between questions you give to her, you can tell she is noticing something more. She seems to admire you, and yet can't decide how to approach it. You feel that she is a mare who is of deep complexity and strives to show that to others. There is a way that when you talk to her, she tries to give you a bridge to join her in the conversation, but also halts it at strange times, as if she is afraid to go any further. You see this, you back off a little bit and just sit and stare outside at the ponies walking along the street. You take an interest in their style of clothes. You try to figure out where they're from. You look at the stage set up in the park down the way, and Coco mentions that she helped make that. You ask her for more information. You want to know about it, and you see that she lights up whenever she speaks about drama and theater. It's not hard to imagine Coco on stage, being the center of attention. And when you mention this much, she replies that she has never been the star of a theater production, that she has always been in the background somewhere, always trying to make sure things go smoothly, always caring for others and wanting them to be happy. She seems lost in longing, staring down at that stage. The more she talks about the fact that she was never the star, the sadder she becomes. You reach out and hold her on the arm as she stares at your touch, smiles, and puts a hoof over the other. She looks at you, nods, and then gets up and walks over to the main room. She continues her story with the sense that she is missing something important, looking around, trying to find it, but instead keeps looking back at the ground every time she mentions an opportunity she left behind. It's hard not to feel for her. You ask why she hasn't tried to go back into theater. She mentions that she has tried many times to be a part of a production that she hasn't made herself. But whenever she does, she always feels like she's cast to the side because she's not brash enough, not bold enough to be the pony that pushes himself to the front. She says she never wanted to be that kind of pony. She just wants to be noticed, even for the small, soft things. She strokes the couch as she says this, realizes what she's doing, then holds her hoof back around her midsection. She asks to be excused and walks over to the bedroom and closes the door. You listen for a while, about a minute, wondering what's wrong. Of course you know the issue, but there has to be more. Something that makes her want to isolate herself. So you walk forward, you hear sniffling, and you know that this has to be serious. Even memories can bring forth realizations that some ponies don't want to think about. She said that she'd never been the star of a show, and you think about what that means and realize you can help her. You knock on the door. You want to be polite. You don't want to barge in. She also desires the same and opens the door, looking at you with tear-stained eyes. Her mouth is slightly open. You can hear her breath, ragged, trying not to cry. You open yourself for an embrace, inviting her in, and without hesitation, she takes it, grasping tightly, and you can feel that need for recognition in the hold that she has on you right now. She buries her head in your chest, sniffles, holds even tighter. You mention to her an idea that you have. She's curious. You tell her to go to the balcony and ask if you can get a few things from her apartment. She wonders why, asks where you're going. You say, outside. The balcony is not very high, maybe a few stories up. Easy to speak to somebody from the ground at that point. And there you are, exiting the apartment house and standing on the street side, staring up at her. She giggles when she sees the extravagant costume you have made out of her amazing purple curtains for a robe and a wonderful crown constructed out of clothing hangers taped precariously to your fruit bowl crown. And she smiles and giggles. You start performing for her, 3 stories down, yelling up to her as ponies pass by, staring in confusion, some smiling, some laughing, but most having a great time. Coco blushes hard at the sight of someone trying to swoon her. She calls back down, shyly at first, and with growing confidence. You move and twirl a little, showing off your fabulous curtain robes and your shower curtain rod of a scepter. When you gesture to her and talk about how amazing she is, about how she is the light on the stage, you can see her eyes glisten. You mention how she is the candle in the dark, the one that the audience moves around, eager to feel the warmth of something so small with a fiery passion, so warm and inviting. She giggles, and her face is as red as a tomato. She leans over the side, reclining now, and you can see that she is fully enjoying this, no longer afraid, no longer embarrassed. And as you gesture up with your magnificent shower rod scepter, you can see several other ponies stopping to admire the scene. Some are throwing bits your way. You make a note to pick those up to help take Coco somewhere nice tonight. Others throw flowers from the balconies above, staring down and gesturing to Coco. Alas, a fellow suitor for competition has appeared. A balcony 2 stories above and to the side of Coco, right above you. They have made a wonderfully extravagant outfit out of plastic shower curtain themselves, etched in magnificent goldfish. And they have also constructed their own crown out of their bed that their cat once slept in, who meows, annoyed, off to the side of the balcony, wishing for their bed back. The suitor competitor yells down to Coco, speaking of their true love for her, extremely over the top and very sincere. They challenge you down at the bottom, and you feel a surge of pride that must be defended. You grasp wildly off to the side, end up coming up with a bushel of roses that had to be handed to you by a random passerby, and use them to illustrate your point of how much Coco means to you. Putting the roses down on the ground, and then kneeling before them, gesturing up to Coco, you mention how she has brought such a brightness to the world, how the stage of life is made better by her presence, and as the star, she has brought so many into the fold to become heroes and important players in her life and all of everyone's life that walks through her daily rituals. The suitor competitor tries to counter. They throw down a mystery item which they say must be utilized to prove one's love for Coco. It hits the ground and does not break, and when it is picked up, You can see that it is a small stuffed animal. Confused as to how you could use this, you peer back up at the suitor competitor, who scoffs at you and your lack of imagination. Reinvigorated, you hold up the doll as if it were Coco herself, dancing and performing various moves while speaking to the doll as though it were Coco, and then looking up to see her response. She giggles and laughs and claps with her hooves, inviting you to come back up, that you have indeed won this game. The fellow goldfish suitor competitor scoffs in anger, throws down their cat bed, to which they are immediately chastised by their cat as they walk back inside. You make a note to return the bed later. Inside, you go back and spend time with Coco, holding her, making her smile as you recall the events and the ponies, mentioning to you how much they thought it was amazing what you did. Silly, yes, but that was the point. It gave Coco something to smile about. And now she holds you close on the bed. And you see why it needed to be so big. She has put several things on the bed for you two to look at together. Various fashion creations she has made, which she has you put on small hats, small collars of color and form, some causing you to blush, others causing you to exaggerate, posing with them. She laughs at each and everything, and you can tell that she is happy. Finally, she rests her head on your chest and starts to fall asleep. You hold her close and hear her breath and feel her calm down from the day's events. She is happy, and so are you. Coco Pommel has finally found someone who helped her become the star she always wanted to be. And by the light that she gives off, your life too has been made brighter thanks to Coco Pommel.